All right, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Earth class. I hope everybody is well. This is a kind of a flow class. We'll start in a seated position. So everyone, please come to find a seat on your mat. You can sit on your knees. Sit with a tall spine for a second and close the eyes. With your eyes closed, you can start to just concentrate on your breath as you breathe in and out through the nose. Begin to hear your own sound of your own breath as you're breathing. Deep breaths in and out through the nose. Each time you breathe in, try to lengthen the breath a little bit more. So you really start to fill up your lungs. To get nice filled lungs. And then every exhale, you start to empty your lungs, getting all the air out from the lungs. This is preparing for what is known as Ujjayi breathing, victorious breath. So as we start to breathe in now, we're going to start to synchronize a little bit together as best as we can. So I'll guide us through the breathing. So first let the air out, letting all the air out. And then begin, take an inhale through the nose and really fill up your lungs as much as you can, all the way up to the top of your lungs. And then hold at the top for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale the lungs, empty all the air out of your lungs. Try to get the air out, so empty completely, and then hold at the bottom of the exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, taking in a deeper breath, each time expanding the lungs, filling all the way up to the top of the shoulders, and then hold there. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, empty the lungs, all the air out, emptying completely all the air, and then hold at the bottom for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, deep breath, fill the lungs, lengthen the spine, make sure you're nice and tall on the spine. Hold at the top for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, empty the lungs, all of the air out, emptying the lungs completely, holding at the bottom for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, fill the lungs, deep breath. So all the way up to the top, deep breath through the nose, hold air at the top for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And empty the lungs, all the air out completely, holding all the air out. And then we hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, deep breath. These are our last 2. Fill the lungs all the way up to the top. Hold the top for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale all of the air out. Empty completely, getting out all the toxins, the metabolic waste, holding at the bottom. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Inhale, deepest breath. Fill the lungs all the way up. Deepest breath as you can. Hold there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, empty the lungs all the air out. Empty completely. Holding at the bottom of the exhale. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then take a deep inhale. Deep exhale through the nose. From here, we'll slowly move to an all-4 position. So you come onto your mat, bringing your knees underneath your hips, your hands underneath your shoulders. Make sure that you spread your fingers nice and wide. Hook the toes underneath so you have your toes pressing into the floor. And we'll do some cat-cow stretches for the back. With the spine nice and neutral in the beginning, looking down just below the nose. Take an inhale and tilt your tailbone up and your head up towards the ceiling. Exhale, press your chin to your chest and round the back, pressing between the shoulder blades. Inhale again, take your chin up and your tailbone up, look all the way up, stretching your neck. Exhale again, chin to the chest, round the back, push your belly all the way into your spine. Inhale, chin up, tailbone up, look up towards the ceiling, arch your back. Exhale, chin to the chest, round the back, pushing your belly all the way into your spine. Inhale again, chin up, tailbone up, look up towards the ceiling, really sink your belly towards the mat. Exhale, chin to the chest, pull the belly in, round the back, pressing all the way up to the ceiling. Two more, inhale, chin up, tailbone up, look up, arch your back. Exhale, chin to the chest, round the back, pressing between the shoulder blades. Last one. Inhale, chin up, tailbone up, look up towards the ceiling, sink your belly all the way towards the mat. Exhale, chin to your chest, pull the belly in, round the back, pressing between the shoulder blades, all the way out. And then come back to a neutral position for the spine. With your toes hooked under, start to press your toes into the mat and your fingers into the floor, and see if you can lift your knees just a few centimeters up off the floor, so you're hovering over your mat. You really start to warm up now your thigh muscles. Keep your belly in the whole time so you engage your core muscles, and you're pressing away the floor with the hands. And then slowly, slowly start to turn your tailbone up towards the ceiling, pressing your thighs all the way back. Pull your belly in and lift your tailbone up so you come into a V shape, upside down V shape, known as downward facing dog. Here you can take a little walk. If you want to walk your dog, bend your knees a couple times, right and left. Another thing you can do is try to stretch your shoulders a couple times, bouncing up and down. Maybe you want to take one leg up as high as you can, bend the knee, open the hip. You can do the same on the other side. Just taking any organic movements you need just to feel warmed up. Trying to warm up the body now. And then slowly start to come walking forward towards the top of your mat. So you come into a forward folded position over the top of your mat, with your feet just about a fist distance in between your feet. So you can take your hand down, measure between your toes, your heels. Take your hands to your hips. So your fingers are pointing in towards your belly. Lift your toes up off the floor. Keep in the forward fold still. Lift the toes up. Spread the toes nice and wide. So you really feel the corners of your feet pressing into the floor. Pull your belly in. Bend the knees a little bit. Roll the shoulder blades together so you have a flat back, and then press through the feet and come all the way up to a standing position. You're nice and tall. Then bring the arms down by your side and turn the palms forward in front of you. This is known as mountain pose. You can do this posture. In between all the postures, we always find this mountain pose. Next thing we'll do is our sun salutation, earth style sun salutation. You come all the way to the top of the mat. If you're not already there, take your hands in front of your chest, namaskar, palms together. Inhale. Reach your arms up over your head, arch back, open up your chest. If you want to, you can even take a back bend and arch back. Exhale, forward fold, take your hands all the way down to the floor, head down to the head down. Step your right leg all the way back, right knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up towards the ceiling. Stretch your arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Hands back down to the floor. Step your left leg back, come to plank pose. Exhale, all the way down to the mat. Once you're all the way down, point your toes. Inhale, lift the chest. Over. Next one, curl the toes under, press into downward facing dog. Here we hold downward facing dog for a few breaths. Holding the firm posture firm. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Make sure you're using your knuckles and your fingers pushing into the floor. Send your tailbone up towards the ceiling, really using your abdominal strength, pulling your belly in, tailbone goes up. Slowly press your thighs back. You should start to feel now really the body begin to warm up a little bit more. One more breath here, into the nose, out through the nose. Take a step forward with your right foot. Take your left knee down. Sweep your arms up toward the ceiling. Anjaneyasana, it's called. Hands back down to the mat. Step your leg back to plank pose. Then slowly lower down, all the way down to the floor. Once you're all the way down, point your toes, lift the chest, over forward. Curl the toes under and then press into downward facing dog. Again, we stay here, downward facing dog. While you're in the downward facing dog, concentrate on your breath, in and out through the nose. Hold the posture steady and firm the whole time. Keeping the belly in, send the tailbone up. You might have to bend the knees a little bit if your heels are off the floor, and maybe step your feet in a little closer towards your feet, towards your hands, so you get a little bit tailbone to point more up towards the ceiling. And then slowly press the thigh bone back, until you come into a downward facing dog, complete with maybe even the heels down. Bend your knees, look forward at your hands, and then walk up or jump to the top of your mat. Sit your hips down into the chair and sweep your arms up towards the ceiling. This is known as Anjanya, chair pose, Utkatasana. So sit low into the chair, hips down, really try to sit low, pull your belly in, lift the chest up, upper body back. Exhale, forward fold. Take your hands back down to the floor. Now we do the other side. Take your left leg back, big step, knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up towards the ceiling. Anjaneyasana. Then take your hands back down to the floor. Step back, plank pose. From plank, exhale, slowly lower down all the way to the floor. Point your toes. Inhale, lift the chest, cobra pose. Curl your toes under and press into downward facing dog. So some of you might look like me here with your heels lifting up off the floor. So you can try to step in a little bit, keeping your feet hip width apart. Maybe bend the knees even a little bit more, and then try to push with the hands. You send the tailbone all the way up, and then slowly pressing the thighs back. Eventually your heels come back to the mat. And then you hold that posture wherever you are today, steady and still. Deep inhale, deep exhale. One more inhale. One more exhale. Take a step forward with your left foot. Bring your right knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms up towards the ceiling. Anjaneyasana. Hands back down to the floor. Step back, plank pose again. Exhale, all the way down to the floor. All the way down. Inhale, lift the chest, point your toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Tailbone up and thighs back. Again, we'll stay here, 5 breaths here. So just try to find a steady posture, an even posture, whatever you can for today. In through the nose, deep breath. Exhale through the nose, deep exhale. One more inhale, deep exhale. Bend your knees. Look forward at the top of your mat and then feet top of the mat. Walk, hop, or jump. Top of your mat. Forward fold. Exhale, head down. Inhale, sweep your hip arms up and sit your hips into the chair. Chair pose. Belly in. Lift upper body back. Try to sit as low as you can into the chair. And then pressing through your feet, come all the way up to standing, and take your hands back in front of your chest. Namaskar. Okay, so hopefully you've warmed up a little bit now. Now we'll start to do some of the postures, very Hatha Yoga style, which means we hold the postures. The first one, half moon. Start with your feet a little bit apart. You can lift your toes up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale, bring your arms up over your head, join the palms together, stretch up towards the ceiling, really lengthen up towards the ceiling as tall as you can. Keep your arms nice and strong, and then slowly bend towards the right. Upper body goes towards the right. Push your hips over towards the left side of the room. So you feel a stretch down the whole left side of the body. You reach up, and then you go, stretch upper body to the right, hips to the left. Nice and long spine, keeping your chin up away from your chest as you bend. Bend the hips all the way over to the side. Keep going. Reach over towards the right. Come down and push. Last chance. Come all the way down and push. Inhale and then come back up to the top. Stretch up towards the ceiling. Lengthen up towards the ceiling. And then go over towards the left. Push your hips over towards the right. You feel a stretch down the whole side of the body. Belly in the whole time. Keep a nice long spine. The chin up a little bit. So you have a gap between your chest and your chin. Make sure you have a nice, long, strong feet pushed firmly into the floor. Legs nice and straight. Inhale and come back up to the top. Stretch your arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Bring the head back, extend the neck, reach the arms to the ceiling, and then start to go back. Reaching your arms back, your head back, lean back, go back. Whole front side opening up, extension for the whole front side of the body. Try to move your arms back a little bit more. Inhale, then come back up to the top. Stretch all the way up towards the ceiling. Take your hands towards your hips. Slide your hands all the way down your ankles. And see if you can take hold of your ankles. Once you have a hold of your ankles, then you're going to start to pull onto your ankles. So you bend the elbows and you pull. Make sure you have a flat back so you're not rounding the back. It's nice and flat. Might have to bend the knee a lot in the beginning and then pull. And then slowly start to stretch your tailbone up. And then you stretch the top of your head, crown of your head, down towards the floor. So lengthening the back of the legs from your tailbone to your toes and from your tailbone to the crown of the head. Nice long stretching spine. With your hands, Now coming back up to your hips with your fingers pointing in. Lift the toes again, bend the knees, roll the shoulder blades back together, push through the feet, and come all the way up to a standing position. Bring your arms down by your side, palms facing forward. That was our first one, half moon. Next one is a lot of fun. Take your feet now to the outside of your mat. Or if you're standing on your mat, you can also turn and face so your feet are still on the mat. But you want to have a wide step, about a meter, 90 centimeters in between your feet. Inhale, take your arms up over your head, stretch your arms up towards the ceiling, stretch all the way up, and then bend your upper body over towards the right. Stretch your upper body over towards the right as you push your hips over towards the left side. This time you can really ground your feet into the floor, anchor the foot really strongly, push your hips over towards the left upper body towards the right, come down, lengthening the whole front side. You want to feel the front side opening up. You want to still feel the back of the spine nice and tall. Keep your arms next to your ears as much as you can. Inhale and then come back up to the top. Stretch all the way up to the top. Reach up, lengthen up, and then bend your upper body over to the left, bending your hips to the right. So now we go to the other side. Push your hips all the way as much as you can, keeping your legs firmly planted into the mat, nice and strong, especially your left leg. Your right leg, anchor it into the floor and push your hip all the way over towards the side. Deep breath in, exhale, come down, push. Inhale, and then come back up to the top, stretch up towards the ceiling. This time, take your arms behind your back, interlock your fingers behind your back. Exhale, and then come into forward fold over the legs. You stretch the shoulders, arms away from the back as best as you can. If you have pain in your shoulders, you can keep your arms rested on your back. Stomach in and a long spine. Try not to round the back. It should be nice and straight. Even if you don't bend as much, just keep a flat back the whole time. Take your hands to your hips. Slide your hands all the way down now to your ankles again, just like before. This time, turn your toes out 45 degrees out to the side. Bend your knees and try to get your hips down as parallel as you can, so your hips and your shoulders come in and your knees all into one line. In other words, your back should be nice and flat. Stomach in the whole time. Use your buttock muscles, squeeze them a little bit in. Look down just below your nose, straight down to the floor, and then reach your arms forward towards the front of you and stretch your tailbone back as you reach and stretch in the opposite direction. Keep the belly in and hold there. 4, 3, stretching and reaching. 4, 2, reaching and stretching. 4, 1. Then take your hands to your knees. Drop your right shoulder down and lift your left shoulder up toward the ceiling as you twist to the side, keeping your hips down and the belly in. Twist to the side. A little bit in abdominal twist. Hold there. Steady and still. Press the hands at the knees. And then shifting to the other side, taking your shoulder down and look up towards the other side. Knees. You can use your hands against the knees, squeeze the buttock muscles, and keep the belly in as you twist. The upper body twisting and sitting in a chair. Then slowly come back to the middle. Straighten the knees. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up over your head. Join the palms together. Exhale, bend your knees. Sit down a little bit lower. So you're trying to sit into the chair, knees wide. Inhale, sweep your arms up over your head again. Join the palms together. Exhale, bend your knees. Sit down a little bit lower again into the chair. Last one. Inhale, take your arms up over your head, palms together. Exhale, bend your knee and sit all the way down. Try to sit low, all the way low into the chair. Upper body back and the belly in. Use the buttock muscles also. That helps. Take your right arm onto your right thigh. Sweep your left arm over your ears. You create a long line on the side of the body. Still staying in the chair the whole time, and the palm can face your right palm can face up towards the ceiling. Try to hold there, even lessen the pressure of your arm on your thigh, and then stretch your arm out to the side, holding there for 3. Keep reaching and stretching. For 2, should feel your thigh muscles now for 1. Then take your elbow back on your thigh. Sweep your arm down. Inhale, take your arms up over your head, palms together. Exhale, bend your knees, sit down again. Take your forearm on top of your thigh. Sweep your arm over your ears. You create a long line again down the side of the body. Your left palm facing up. Sit into the chair. Suck your belly in. If you can, stretch your other arm out. Hold both arms out and hold there for 3, 4, 2, 4, 1. And then take your elbow back on your thigh. Sweep your arm down. Inhale. Take your arms up over your head. Heel toe your feet back together. Come back to the center of your mat. Feet a little bit apart. Hands in front of your chest. Namaskar. Then take your arms down. palms facing forward, mountain pose. One more posture for the legs. Bending your knees, take your hands to your chest, feet a little bit apart, suck your belly in, and sit down all the way into the chair. Lift your chest and then take your elbows to the outside of your knee. Look down at your knees. Make sure both knees are coming into one line. Join the hands in prayer. Maybe you make a fist with the top hand and you push and twist to the side. You use your strength, hand pushing down, and try to twist. You push down really strong, and that creates the twist. If you take the top hand and push down against the bottom hand, you can find you twist a little bit more. Exhale to a forward fold. Take a hold of your big toes with your index and your middle fingers. Inhale, lengthen the spine forward. Exhale, bend the knees and stretch down. Bend your arms and knee and stretch down towards the floor. If you need to bend the knee a little bit to keep a flat back, you can have the knees bent a bit. Belly stays on the thighs the whole time. Then with your hands back at your hips, fingers pointing in, press through the feet, shoulders together, and come back up to standing. Nice and tall spine, arms down, palms facing forward. Other side. Take your hands to your chest again. Bend your knees, sit down into the chair. Inhale, lift the chest and take your elbow to the outside of the knee. Join the hands in prayer. Again, you can take the top hand, make a fist, push down against the bottom hand, and then you can find that you can twist a little bit more. So you really use the strength of the hand, fist, pushing against the hand as much as you can. You push down and then you can twist the spine as much as you can for today, keeping your hips down into the chair, twisted chair pose. Exhale again to a forward fold. Reach down. If you can't, bring your hands underneath your feet and stand on your hands. Then you can grab your fingers with your index and your middle fingers and grab your big toes again. Or you stand on your feet. Inhale, lengthen forward, flat back. Exhale, bend the elbows and stretch and lengthen down. So you're trying to create length again in the back of the legs as best as you can. Length again from your tailbone down towards the floor, belly in the whole time. To come back out, take your hands back at your hips, shoulders together, root to rise, pressing through the feet, come all the way back up to a standing position, arms down and palms facing forward. Next posture, eagle pose. Take your arms up over your head and then bring your right arm underneath your left arm. Cross your elbows and cross your wrists. Bring your hands into prayer position, thumbs towards your face, little fingers towards the front. Hold the elbows down so your fingertips go below your nose. Suck your belly in and sit down low into the chair. Once you're all the way down, nice and low into the chair, sit down low into the chair, lift the chest, and then take your leg as high as you can, up and over, and twist your legs, your right leg over your left leg, until you can get your right foot one day to hook underneath the calf muscle. And the 5 toes then become visible in the air. Then you move your knees over towards the right. Upper body goes to the left. Feet, knees, hands, elbows, everything one straight line. Belly in, sit down into the chair. Bring your elbows down lower, fingertips go below the nose. Suck your belly in and then bring your upper body back again in the end. Slowly reverse, come back out other side. Take your arms up over your head, stretch up towards the ceiling, and then take your left arm underneath your right arm. Cross your elbows, cross your wrists, bring your hands into prayer position again, thumbs towards your face and your little fingers towards the front. Pull the elbows down so that way you have your fingertips go below your nose. Suck your belly in and sit down low into the chair, nice and low just like before. Lift your chest up and then take your left leg as high as you can over your right leg. Twist your legs until you get your left foot underneath your right calf muscle and your 5 toes visible in the mirror. Then you move your knees over towards the left upper body to the right. Try to get everything in a straight line. Your feet, your knees, your elbows, and your hands under one line. Stomach in, lift the chest up. Pull your elbows down a little bit more. Twist your arms and your legs as much as you can. And then slowly reverse. Come back out. Arms over your head. Arms down by your side. Okay. Normally we take a sip of water, but I imagine it's not so hot where you are. You might feel a little warm from the exercises. If you need to, you take a sip when you need to. But our next posture, we start now with some of the balancing postures. Our first one is called tree pose, Vrikshasana, and we go from tree pose into Utthita Padangusthasana. So starting with your feet a little bit apart, we find mountain pose. That's our base posture in the whole earth sequence. So you have a little space between your toes and your heels, your arms down, palms face forward towards the front. Shift your body weight over into your left leg. You have the choice of putting your foot, if you're challenged at your knee or the balance a little bit, you can have your foot down next to your ankle or at your calf muscle. Never place your foot at your knee. If you can, then you take your foot all the way up into the thigh. So you press your foot and your thigh together. So you create pressure with your foot pushing against the thigh, standing nice and tall. Think of pushing your big toe into the floor. So you ground with your feet into the mat, and then pull the belly in, tighten the seat, and slowly, when you can, take your hands to the center of your chest into Namaskar. If you can find the balance there, belly in, next step is stretch your arms up towards the ceiling. So you lengthen up and get nice and tall, reaching up so your whole spine is tall, growing up, belly in the whole time. Then with your right arm, you can slowly lower your right arm down, slowly down. See if you can take a hold of your right foot from the outside with your elbow on the inside of your knee. If that's a challenge for you, then you can hold the outside of your knee with your hand, and then take your left hand back to your hip. So if you're holding at your knee, you can stay here for the moment. If you're holding at your foot, then you can inhale and start to stretch your leg forward until eventually you get your leg to reach out straight forward in front of you. So in the beginning, make sure that your standing leg is straight. Maybe your other leg is bending a little bit. Eventually you can take your leg straight. And if you have a little bit more flexibility, you can start to take your leg up a little bit higher so your heel comes in line with your shoulder. Stand nice and tall. If you're holding at your knee, you just stay here, pull the belly in. Last step, this is the fun part now. You have to stay with it. Take your hands back to your hips, and then everyone stretch your left leg all the way forward in front of you. Even if your leg is only going like I am here, you try to lift your leg up, push your heel and hold for 3, push the heel and hold for 2, push the heel and hold for 1, and then take your foot back down to the floor, arms down by your side, find mountain pose. Now we do the other side. Shift your body weight into your right leg and take your left leg up. You take your left foot. Again, you can put it on your thigh. If you have a knee condition, then you can keep your foot maybe touching the floor or as close to the ankle. If you have a knee condition, you can lower your foot. Once you find the base position with your foot pushing into your thigh, thigh pressing into the foot, press the mound of your big toe into the floor, stretch your tailbone down, pull your belly in, lengthen up from the crown, the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head, and then slowly take your hands in front of your chest. Namaskar. You can balance there. Next step, start to stretch your arms up over your head. So you lengthen up, reach up, and stretch up. That's tree pose, Vrikshasana. Next is Uddhita Padangusthasana. Slowly lowering your arm down. So you take your left foot from the outside, little toe side, elbow on the inside of your knee, and take your hand to your hip. If you're unable to grab your foot, you hold the outside of your knee and lift the chest. You work on still the foundation, strong and firm standing leg. If you're having your foot, then you can start to stretch your foot forward as much as you can until eventually you can straighten both of your legs. Lift the chest. Even if you're holding at your knee, you can still stay nice and tall and pull the abdominal muscles in. If you have your foot, then you can raise your heel a little bit higher. Maybe your heel comes in line with your shoulder, standing there, stretching your leg all the way forward. Next step, then slowly lower your leg down so it's parallel to the floor, and then take your right hand back to your hip. Hold your your left leg stretched out for 3. Push the heel forward, even if your leg is only coming up a little bit, even if it's just a little bit. And then 2, keep pushing the heel forward, and 1, and take your foot back down to the mat. Arms down by your side, palms facing forward. Little fist distance between your feet. Find mountain pose again. Tadasana, mountain pose. Our next posture, Natarajasana, dancer pose. So this is a little bit different from the Bikram way, because in this class, this posture, we're trying to keep the shoulders so that they're parallel, not twisting in the upper body, but everything is staying parallel to in front of you. So we start by grabbing a hold of your right foot, hold your foot from the outside, and hold on to your foot. That makes you have a good grip, holding the foot from the outside. Then take your knees together, so your knees touch together, and your left arm comes up. So you stretch your arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale. First step is to kick your foot back. You don't come forward yet, but you push your foot back as far as you can away from you. Then when you can't kick back anymore, then you start to bring your upper body down. And so you get your abdomen parallel to the floor. But as you come down, when you start to reach your arm forward, what's going to happen is that your shoulder will start to go back. So you have to move the shoulder forward. So you get your two shoulders parallel. So you're trying to stay like you're in a bow posture on the floor. Everything two parallel lines. If you fall out, you can just try again one more time. Take a nice deep inhale, push your standing foot into the floor and kick your leg back. Find your posture and then hold there absolutely still. And then slowly come back out. Same way you went in. Try to make it look graceful. Even if nobody's looking, right, we still try to put grace into our posture as best as we can. Other side. Now we do the other side. Grab your left foot. Grab your foot from the outside. Hold on to your left foot. Same grip. You're trying to hold around at the ankle. Take your right arm up towards the ceiling. Right arm stretching up in front of you. Start with your knees together and standing leg nice and straight. Take an inhale first and then start to kick your foot into your hand as much as you can. You have to kick your foot. It's all about kicking in this posture. You push your foot as much as you can away from you. You have to really not hold the foot, but you have to kick. So your shoulder is, you have to pull the shoulder forward a little bit, make a little bit of resistance. And then you get your two shoulders into one line. So as you come down, as your left shoulder goes back, you're going to try to bring your left shoulder forward and your right shoulder back. So everything comes parallel as best as you can. Keep kicking. If you've fallen out again, you can come back in. Try again one more time. Last chance. Take an inhale. Push your foot into your hand. Kick your leg back and up. Bring your upper body down. Try to hold there for a second, absolutely still. And then slowly reverse. Come back out. Arms down by your side. Stand nice and tall. Mountain pose, Tadasana. Our next posture now is warrior three pose. You step to the back of your mat with your feet again fist distance apart. Start with your arms down by your side, nice and tall. Then you take your hands to the center of your chest. Take a big step forward with your right foot. Big step forward onto your right foot. Point your left toes so you're standing on just your right leg, and then bring your body down so your whole body is parallel to the floor. Try to get everything parallel to the floor. It's reaching your toes back. Once you're down parallel to the floor, then you can flex your foot. So you turn your left toes towards the floor. Think of little toe going down a little bit more. Look down just below your nose, and then reach and stretch your arms forward in front of you and push your heel back as you reach and stretch for 3. Reaching and stretching for 2, reaching and stretching for 1. Then take your hands back to your hips, or to your chest, and slowly step back and bring your feet apart, fist distance, arms down for a second. Take a breath there. Other side. Take your hands back to your chest again. Big step forward with your left foot. Step all the way onto your left foot. Point your right toes to start. Exhale and then come down until everything comes down parallel to the floor. Come down all the way down. Lift the leg up a little bit more. Usually it's never high enough. And then come chest down a little bit more. From here, flex your right foot. Turn the little toe side down towards the floor so your hips stay even. That's it. Good. And then reach your arms, stretch forward. Look down at the floor. Reach your arms forward. Arms with the ears and your foot back. Reaching and stretching for 2. Reaching and stretching for 1, and then slowly, gracefully step back and find mountain pose again. Arms down, palms facing forward. Next one is called Dekasana, or airplane pose. So for airplane pose, the position with the hands is you want to make sure that always the palms, that they're facing out to the side. Some people kind of turn the wrist. See here, this wrist, you don't want to turn the wrist. You have to have the hands, palms facing out. So your shoulders stay nice and open. So we start with your feet a little bit apart. Turn the palms out towards the side, like you're out towards the side, like you're trying to turn your thumbs back behind you and your little fingers forward in front of you. So it's an open rotation in the shoulder. Take an inhale, step forward with your right foot, all the body weight to your right foot, and then take your upper body down. As you bring your arms back, you can keep your chin up and try to look. Maybe you can get your foot way up over the top of your head. Just come down as much as you can. The arms, they go back and up, and so like an airplane, and then bring your belly down a little bit closer to your thigh. Keep your chin nice and long, up and stretched away from your chest. See if you can get your leg up a little bit more higher up into the air, and then slowly stepping back to the back of your mat. Then we do the other side. Step forward, left foot steps forward, point your back foot, lift the chest, and then come down. As you come down, take the arms back and up. So you have a nice long side of the body. The arms go back and up. The leg comes up as much as you can, high up towards the ceiling. Try to get your belly down close to your thigh and the chin away from your chest. See if you can lift your leg up a little bit more. Hold there. And then slowly back out of the pose, arms down and palms facing forward. All right, our next posture. Now you might have to turn on your mat towards the side so that you have the space, because we're going to step out for the warrior postures. So we start at the back left corner of your mat. Start at the back left corner of your mat. Bring your feet about hip width apart, palms facing forward towards the front, nice and tall. Take your hands to your hips. And first thing we'll do is pasarita. Take a big step out to the side, big step out to the side. Pasarita. This is a side fold. So toes in a little bit. Arms start with your hands at your hips. Keep your thigh muscles contracted, nice and strong. Exhale and then fold over the legs. As you come down about halfway, you can take the hands down to the floor. Take your hands, so the palm of your hands rest onto the floor. And you can start here. So if you're more challenged with flexibility, you can maybe stay up on your fingertips. Try to keep your knees straight and try to avoid leaning back like I am now. In the camera here, you might be able to see I'm leaning back. You have to bring the body weight more forward toward your toes. If you're more challenged with the flexibility, maybe walk your hands more forward. So then you're really starting to feel the stretch in the back of the legs. If you have more flexibility, then you can walk your hands so your hands come in line with the heel of your feet. And if you have even more flexibility, you might be able to place the top of your head down onto the floor between your toes and your heels. You have to find where you can find your appropriate edge, and then just hold there. Be still. Couple breaths here, in and out through the nose. Feel the stretch in the body. Feel the stretch in the legs, in the back, in the spine. And then slowly walk your hands forward to come back out. Once you come out, take your hands back to your hips and slowly come back up to standing position. Now we'll do the second version. This one we are familiar with. Stretch the arms out to the side, nice and strong with the arms. Pull the belly in. Exhale and fold over the legs. Come down. Once you're all the way down, take a hold of your feet from the outside and stand on your fingers. If you're unable to grab your feet, then you can do like we did the first set. Place your hands on the floor and work on stretching your legs. You'll find the stretch in the hamstrings. If you can grab your heels, feet from the outside, then you can start to bend the elbows and pull and stretch down until you can touch your head to the floor between your toes, between your heels. Keep stretching down. Pull your belly in. That's always helpful. Straighten the legs. Make sure you have nice, strong thigh muscles. That helps protect your hamstrings. And then slowly coming back out. As you come back out, take your arms out to the side. Arms out to the side. And then take your hands to your hips and step back. So you come back into mountain pose. Standing tall, looking forward. Right? Even though we might not be doing anything, the mountain pose still is a very strong and steady posture. Steady, and helps us steady the mind a bit, prepare. Our next thing now is our warrior flow sequence. So this is going to be a flow of the warrior, starting with your hands at your hips. Take a big step out to the side. So you have like a big wide step, maybe about a meter and a half, meter 20 in between your feet. Turn your heel in. So now that your right heel comes to line up with the arch of your other foot. Take your arms up over your head. Sweep the arms all the way up over your head. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, bend the knee, come down. And as you come down, look over your fingertips. Try to get your thigh parallel to the floor. Inhale again, then come back up. Straighten the legs and join the palms. Look towards the camera. Exhale, bend the knee and then come down again, looking over your fingertips. Inhale again, come up, arms up over your head. Join the palms together. Exhale, bend the knee and then come down. Make sure you come down low so your thigh gets parallel to the floor. Straighten the leg. Maybe you're leaning a little bit too much forward over your thigh. So you have to tilt the upper body back a little bit so your spine is over the hips. Stretching your arms out in opposite directions. Look over your fingertips. Stretching your back leg to feel nice and strong. Thigh muscles engaged the whole time. And then we hold it steady. We hold still, whole time. Just gazing over the tips of your fingers. Keep your eyes focused on one thing, like tunnel vision. So that's drishti, where you look. Drishti, it's called in Sanskrit. Stretching the arms, your focal point is called drishti. Everything one point. Inhale, then come back up. Straighten your arms up over your head. Straighten the legs. Exhale, bend the knee again. This time, reach forward a little bit. Take your forearm on top of your thigh and sweep your other arm over your ear. You create a diagonal line on the whole side of the body. You're not stretching up at the ceiling, but more over your head, over your ears. You create a line that goes down all the way. Shoulders, hips, and heel all come into one line. Now you're going to have to really learn how to use your thigh muscles. You have to push your foot into the floor, your back foot firmly into the floor, and then stretch your arm out, both arms stretched out. So you hold there for 3. Try to reach and stretch for 2. Arms nice and strong for 1, and then take your arm back on your thigh. Keep your arm down. Inhale. Take your arms up over your head. Then bring your hands back to your hips. Turn your foot in, your right foot in, and turn your left heel so your left heel comes into line with the arch of your right foot. Everything in one line. Now we finish one side, we get to do the other side. Inhale, take your arms up over your head, stretch up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bend the knee, come down, look over your fingertips. Inhale again, come back up, join your hands over your head. Exhale, bend your knee, come down again, look over your fingertips. Inhale, come back up. Third one, join the palms. Exhale, bend the knee, come down, and then hold steady and firm. Just look over your fingertips. Make sure you're not leaning forward, that your upper body is really firmly over the midline of the body, over the hips. Bend the knee, sit down a little bit lower. Straighten the back leg. Stretch the arms. Keep looking over your fingertips. Steady your gaze on one point. 6. Hold the whole body still. Try to feel all the muscles that are working to hold the shape. If you hold it constant, hold it steady. Inhale, then come back up. Straighten the legs, straighten the arms for a second. Exhale, bend the knee. Reach over your leg. Take your forearm on top of your thigh. Sweep your other arm over your ear. So you create a long line down the whole side of the body. Your left arm, thigh is resting, your left hand is resting on your thigh, the left arm, and you stretch. Now anchor your right foot firmly into the floor. You have to really use your thigh muscles, like you're trying to pull your feet towards each other. And then stretch your both arms out, left arm stretch, and hold for 3. You can do it. Hold for 2. Sit down a little bit more. Hold there for 1. Take your elbow back on your thigh. Great. Inhale. Sweep your arm back down. Arms up over your head. Join the palms. And now take your hands to your hips. Turn towards the back wall and come up onto your right toes. Bend the knee and then come all the way down so you have your knee down to the floor. Square off your legs. Everything should be 90 degrees here. So you don't want to be too far back like this. You want to try to have everything squared off. Take an inhale, stretch your right arm up, and take your elbow to the outside of the knee. So we do a twisted lunge. Take your elbow to the outside of your knee, and then join the hands like we did before. You can take a fist with the top hand, push down against the bottom hand, so then you're twisting all the way over towards the right. Over the thigh, hands of prayer, and twist. If you can, take a fist and twist. Look up towards the ceiling. You can find the twist in the spine. Keep your feet and your knees down. Hold there steady as you look up towards the ceiling. Then taking your hands to your hips with your back toes curled under. Try to lift all the way up to standing and then turn around to the other side. Come on to your left toes and then bend the knee and sit down. So your knees again make 90 degrees all around. And then you take your left arm up towards the ceiling and take your left arm to the outside of your knee. Try to get your elbow to push the knee edge. Then you take your hands into prayer position and you push with the hands down. You can find a twist in the spine. Look up towards the ceiling and twist. Back knee stays down for today. Use your toes to help maybe firm the base, keeping everything steady, planted into the floor. Find the twist, whole body. And then slowly untwist as you come back out to the center. Take your hands back to your hips. Use your back toes. Lift. Turn all the way around to the other side. If we've been sitting a lot today, this one's a good one. It's called pyramid pose. For this one, we keep both of the legs straight. Parsvottanasana. You can either do this with your hands at your hips, or you can take your hands behind your back and bring your hands into reverse prayer position, or grab your elbows. The main thing is the upper spine. So lift your chin and keep both legs straight. planted into the floor, and then fold forward, but only come as far as you can with a flat back. So you're not rounding to try to get your head as far down as you can. For now, we're trying to flatten the back. So maybe only come a little bit might be halfway. Find your own point where you can keep a flat back. And you'll feel a nice stretch in the hip in this one. Good for the piriformis, especially if you've been sitting in it a lot. This is a good posture to stretch those muscles. Inhale, slowly come back up. Turn all the way to the other side, same thing. Straighten both of your legs, nice and firm, planted into the floor, and then slowly come forward. As you come forward, you can bring your chin away from your chest. What the chin away from your chest does, it helps to keep the upper spine from rounding. So you lengthen the spine, and then the upper spine, the thoracic spine can stay a little bit more straight. So you have a flat back. Both your feet firmly planted into the floor. You should feel nice and strong and steady, flat back the whole time. Inhale, and then slowly come back up. Step all the way to the top of your mat. Turn your toes out about 45 degrees and step about as wide as your mat for now. Now we start to do the floor postures. So take your hands to your chest, bend your knees, and come sit into a squat. Sometimes if you have a hard time with your heels not being able to come up all the way down to the floor, you can have your mat rolled up a bit like me here, and then you can take your heels and place your heels on something a little higher. If you happen to have a block, then you can do the same with blocks. If you happen to have any, or anything at all, it could be books, it doesn't have to be blocks. You can use them, put them down, stand on them, and then find yourself a squat. A little bit easier if you're tighter in the beginning, but eventually you won't need the blocks anymore. You'll be able to just sit in a squat. From here, we got to try a little bit of an arm balance. This one is called crow pose. So for this one, if you can turn your hands like this, then basically you just need to turn 90 degrees and you have it. So you can hold the shape. Now we know we can make the shape with the body. We have to find the strength. So the strength comes from placing your hands down on the floor, looking forward. Make sure you really have a good firm base with your hands. Lift onto your toes, lean into your hands, and squeeze your knees against your upper arms. When you can find a little bit more balance, lean forward more until you can lift one foot. Then you can try to lift the other foot. Join your toes, and then hold. Try to hold steady, hold still, just breathe through the nose the whole time. So using all your core strength in this posture. Keeping your hips up as high as you can. Keep your belly in. Using the strength in the inner thighs to squeeze against the arms. So you can hold it there for one more breath. And then slowly come back out. And come sit onto your mat. So you're sitting with your knees bent in front of you. This is the core part, right? So I know nobody's going to cheat and turn the camera on this part here. You have to use your core strength in this one, and you have to use your determination a little bit. So we start with a tall spine. Take your hands underneath your knees. Lift the chest. It's called boat pose, Navasana. You lean back. Try to get your knees and your chest as close as you can together. Take your toes so they come in line with your eyes and ankles parallel to the floor. Stretch your arms forward in front of you and lift the chest up towards the ceiling. From here, inhale, take your right arm out to the side, stretch your right arm all the way out. And then take your right arm back into the center. Try not to let your knees go away from your chest. Inhale, take your left arm out to the side. Reach your left arm all the way over to the side. And then inhale and then come back. Next one, take your right arm up towards the ceiling. Reach up, all the way up. And then take your right arm back down. Last one, take your left arm all the way up. And then lower your left arm down. We're not done yet though. Don't give up yet. Take your hands to your chest. Straighten your legs and lower down. Keep your shoulders and your heels off the floor. Try to do a couple breaths in and out through the nose like this. Then lift up all the way up. Stretch your arms up towards the legs up toward the ceiling. Stretch your arms next to your knees. And then fold your knees. That one's done. First one is done. I know nobody cheated on that one. I could tell. I could feel it through the airwaves in the sky. I could tell that nobody was giving up on that one. Because we're going to do it again, the second one. Bend your knees. Make sure your feet start with your feet and your knees hip width apart. Take your hands underneath your knees. Lift the chest, lean back. Get your ankles parallel to the floor. Hold here. Next step, stretch your arms alongside your ankles. Hold here. Lift the chest like somebody's pulling up towards the ceiling like strings. Then you can straighten your arms and reach your arms forward towards the front. Next part, take your hands to your chest. Lower down. Try to keep your shoulders and your heels off the floor. Go for the breath again. In and out through the nose. Then come back up again. Straighten your arms. Straighten your legs. Lift the chest up. Keep the posture. Hold it still. And then bend your knees. All done for now. You can cross your legs. Hold on to your knees. And take a couple breaths here. Next one. Hop back to plank. Take the hands down. Come to plank. And then take your tailbone up towards the ceiling. So we come into downward facing dog. Couple breaths here, in and out through the nose. Take your right leg high up. Bend your right knee, open the hips for a second. And then take your right knee toward your right hand. Place your knee down onto the floor. So you should be able to have your right knee near your right hand. Make sure your knee is not coming in the midline like I'm doing here. Move your knee maybe out even a little bit to the side. Your back leg goes straight back for pigeon pose. If you need to, you can use a blanket, a block, a book, something underneath your thigh. So you can rest your knee on your thigh. Here like this. And then once you find this position, or if you don't have the block, your hips down on the floor, you come onto your elbows like so. If you're suffering from a knee condition and you just cannot do this one, then you lie on your back with your knee. So your ankle's going across, your right ankle is going across the top of your left knee, and you can stay here. You can adjust it by bringing your heel closer or eventually grabbing your knee or your thigh. So either in one of those two postures, pigeon pose or on your back, shoelace pose. If you're in pigeon pose, come on your elbows and just hold still. So you have those two options, either pigeon or you're on your back and you're doing the posture on your back. And just try to rest for a moment in the posture, steady, hold it still. Another 15 more seconds. This is a nice calming one. Now we're starting to calm down. So calming the body, calming the mind a bit, a little bit slower. We hold it a little bit longer. And then slowly coming back out. Once you come out, come back into a downward facing dog again. So we meet in downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, lift your left leg up, bend your left knee, open the hip for a second. And then take your left knee to your left hand. Your left heel goes over towards the right hip. So if you were to look at me, the knee on the outside, the heel is close to the hip, and the knee is lined up with the other hip. So then you slowly go back little by little, little by little, and then eventually you can take your elbows down all the way down to the floor. Again, if you have a knee condition and you need to do this one on the back, and you lie on the back, you take your left ankle across the top of your right thigh, and you can do this one on the back. And then you get to control how much of a stretch you feel in the thigh, how much you pull your right heel in close, or eventually grab your ankle or the back of your thigh if you want to feel a more intense stretch. Either on the back or in pigeon pose. And hold still. Try to calmly breathe. You can really feel the stretch. And then slowly coming back out. We meet again in downward facing dog. So come back to downward facing dog. Upside down V. From downward facing dog, come on your toes and come all the way forward to a plank. So now you might have to step your feet back a little bit so everything can be in one long line. Shoulders over the hands, legs straight, knees straight. Try not to be kind of sinking down Eventually, maybe the hips are a little higher than parallel. But you want to try to get everything into one line. And from here, inhale, and then come forward and slowly all the way down to the floor. Once you're all the way down to the floor, point your feet, take your arms behind your back, interlock your fingers behind your back. Grab your nice tight grip, and then start to lift the legs, lift the arms, lift the head, lift the chest, everything lifting up away from the floor. Try to lift as much as you can, up, your arms stretching, legs lifting, chin up, look up towards the ceiling, lift the chest. You use all the muscles in the back, whole spine lifting up away from the floor. Every muscle working now in the back contracted, and you're still keeping a calm and easy breath the whole time. Exhale and then lower back down, all the way down, and look over to the right. Rest your arms down by your side. Rest for a moment in dead body pose. The next posture, bow pose. For bow pose, bend both of your legs, grab your feet from the outside, just below your toes. Chin out onto the floor, legs and arms hip width apart. Take an inhale and start to kick your legs as much as you can, backing up. Just keep kicking your feet into your hands the whole time. Push back more. Lift the chest, chin up, look up over the top of your head. Try to forget everything, only look at the ceiling as you kick as much as you can. Rock onto your belly so you have all the weight into your abdomen. That way you get to massage the muscles inside the abdomen, massaging your internal organs. Knees and feet should stay parallel the whole time, and kick the knees up towards the ceiling. Look up towards the ceiling, kick again one more time, and then slowly lower back down to the mat. Look to the left, take your arms down by your side, and rest for a moment. Dead body pose. The next posture, full locust pose. Take your arms out to the side, airplane wings. Spread your arms out. Stay laying down onto the floor, arms stretching out to the side, chin out onto the floor, legs together. Inhale through the nose, and then lift. Arms, head, chest, legs, and thighs. Everything lifting up off the floor. Get your legs up more. Get your chest up more. Lift your chin up. Come up a little bit higher. Keep lifting. Never give up. Legs up, chest up, chin up, come up, more up, arms up higher, legs up even more, and then slowly come back down. Look over towards the right, arms down by your side, and rest for a moment there. A couple deep breaths in and out through the nose. Last one we'll do is another variation of boat pose, no kasana. It's called no kasana. This one you'll do with the arms straight in front of you, arms straight and legs straight. Head down onto the floor. With everything straight, take an inhale and lift the legs, lift the arms. Everything lifting up away from the floor. Try to get your legs up again as high as you can. The arms up as much as you can. Look up. Maybe you can take your head over your arms and look up towards the ceiling. And then go up, arms up, legs up, chest up, lift up, come up, go up even higher. And then slowly come back down to the mat. Look to the left, arms down by your side, and rest again. Finally, now, ready, push yourselves up off the floor. We're finished with those spine strengthening postures. Come sit at the top of your mat with your knees and your feet together. For Supta Vajrasana is the name of the posture. This is a variation on the one we know, but this one, we do this one with the knees wide. So you take the knees wide, you can stay seated on your heels, and you'll feel a different stretch when you do it this way, and you'll feel a little bit more arching in the back when you do it this way. So always be gentle. If you're feeling pain in the knees, you can stay on all fours and just control how much you need to bend back. So you can find a stretch in your ankles and maybe a little bit of stretching in the knee if you have a knee condition. If you're okay in your knees and you're ready to go back more, You can start still with your toes, heels touching, your knees apart, and then you're sitting on your heels. Then you can walk your hands to your feet. See if you can drop your elbow to the floor, one at a time. First the right and then the left. Then when you get the elbows down, walk your hands toward your feet. Maybe you can place the top of your head down on the floor. Once you get the top of the head down, then you can take the back of the head and the shoulders down on the floor. Then you can take the arm over the head, arms over the head, grab the elbows. The next posture, bringing your hands back onto the floor next to your feet. Use the elbows to lift to come all the way up. Once you're all the way up and seated, join your knees and your feet together. This one is half tortoise pose. Take your arms up over your head, join the palms, stretch up towards the ceiling, chin up, and then slowly come forward. Try to come all the way down. Keep a nice long neck the whole time and stretch your arms all the way forward. At the same time, stretch your tailbone back towards your hips. So lengthen the whole spine forward and back, stretching in opposite directions. Keep the belly in, arms nice and strong, hips down towards your heels. Hold there steady, hold there still. And then slowly reverse, coming back out, taking your arms up over your head. From here, we go straight into the next posture, Ustrasana camel pose. So stand straight up onto your knees, bring your knees apart, hip width apart, knees and feet about 15 centimeters apart. Then you take your hands to your hips, fingers down towards the floor, lift the chest, press the hips all the way forward, bring the head slowly back, all the way back. Once you're about halfway back, you reach your hands down, grab your heels, thumbs on the outside, fingers on the inside, push your stomach, your hips forward, head back, all the way back, chin back, look as far back as you can, maybe you'll see your toes. Whole front side of the body opening, keep pressing your hips forward so you're in a back bend. If you can't get your heels, just keep your hands at your hips and look up at the ceiling and then try to bend from there as much as you can. Inhale and then slowly come back up, all the way up. Once you're all the way up, sit down onto your knees. Knees and feet together, sit down for a second onto the knees. We're going to do a second set of camel pose, but this one will do a variation of this one for the second set. Again, standing back up on your knees, take your knees apart. This time, you get to curl your toes under. So now I'm going to actually do a different posture. It's not camel pose anymore. This one is called rabbit pose also, but it's not like the rabbit you know. The heels are up. You take your hands onto your hips, just like we're going to do camel pose. Lift the chest, look up at the ceiling, and then bend back. Head back. From here, grab your heels. This time the heels are a little higher, so you can focus more on opening up the top part of the chest. You open up the chest more. You can even push up a little bit towards the ceiling, so you arch your back as much as you can. Try to keep your hips still over your knees whole time. You're still getting a stretch, still getting a back bend, but the focus is a little higher in the back than before. And then slowly come back up. Take your hands to your hips as you come back up. Once you're all the way up, then you can sit down onto your knees. When you sit down on your knees, take your head down to the floor and bring your arms back behind you for embryo pose. So you rounded the back. Do it with the knees together if you can. The arms go back and the head goes down. Slowly come back up to a seated position again. Once you're up and seated, take your legs forward in front of you and lie down onto your back. Take a nice deep breath through the nose. Deep exhale through the nose. Our next posture is called bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. Bend your knees so your feet are about hip width apart. Reach your hands down. Reach your hands down so your hands are close to your heels. Hands close to your heels, palms down onto the floor. Make sure your knees are not widening apart and your toes are not turning out. Everything should be nice and parallel. Palms down, inhale, and then lift your thighs and your hips up towards the ceiling. You can stay here Or you can take your fingers, interlock them underneath your back. See if you can get your shoulder blades to come closer together. So then you can push your chest towards your chin, pressing your feet down into the floor. You really then push your tailbone up, your hips up, towards the ceiling, and knees never going too wide, and toes. Don't let your toes turn out. Everything parallel. And then hold there, steady. Hold still. And then slowly lower back down to the floor. Join the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall out towards the side. Take your left hand onto your belly and your right hand onto your heart. Supta Baddha Konasana is called. Next one, we'll do a second set of bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. If you want to do wheel pose, then you can come up into wheel pose. So if you're new, wheel pose, I'll show once really quick. That's when you have your hands, they come underneath your shoulders, and you press with your hands and your feet, and you push up. All right? So you can do that, or you can stay on your back and lift the hips up again. Second set of Setu Bandhasana. So now it's up to you. Take your hands, if you're doing Setu bridge pose, take your hands close to your feet. If you're doing the wheel pose, take your hands underneath your shoulders. Take an inhale and then go ahead, push your thighs, your hips up towards the ceiling. And then the best thing is try to hold the posture again. Steady, hold the posture still. That's what we try to do in Hatha Yoga, is try to hold the body in a shape and try to hold it for a long period of time, as strong as you can. You can work on just breathing in and out through the nose and creating stability, right? Trying to slow down the mind thoughts a little bit. So you hold the posture and can concentrate on that. Concentrate on the muscles, on the breath. You focus only on those things right now. And then slowly lower back down again to the mat. Straighten your legs and your arms and rest in dead body pose. So you rest on your back, dead body pose. Deep inhale through the nose. Deep exhale through the nose. Just a couple of breaths here. Starting to come now towards the end. Bend your right knee up. Our next posture is a twisted posture. So you bend your right knee up, all the way up, holding at your knee. And then with your left hand on the top of your knee, take your knee over towards the left side of the room and stretch your right arm out to the side. You hold this shape here in a twist, bringing your knee towards the floor. The first thing though is make sure that your right shoulder is not lifting up off the floor. So if you're trying to get your knee down and your shoulder's up and you're like this, like me, better to take your shoulder down to the floor and only go as much as you can with your knee. So you keep the shoulder down. Look to the right and then hold the shape. Some of you might be able to take your right hand, bend your left knee, hold onto your left foot, and still keep the shoulder down on the floor. If you can't hold the foot, just keep the legs straight and the arm out to the side. Slowly come back up. You do the same on the other side. Take your knee in close towards your chest for a second. Relax the right leg. Take your left leg up. Interlock your fingers over your left knee. And then with your hand on the top of your knee, take your knee over towards the left. Make sure your left shoulder stays on the floor. Take your left arm out to the side. So some of you might have your knee up high like I'm doing here like this. Some of you might be able to take your knee all the way down. But you need to make sure that your left shoulder stays. Once you're in the posture, hold still. The main thing is to feel the twist in the abdomen. Inhale and then slowly come back up again. Take your knee. Bring both of your legs up towards the ceiling. Take your hands, fold your feet from the outside, and move your elbows on the inside of your knees for happy baby pose. So you're holding your feet. When you're holding your feet, you're trying to pull the feet a little bit so that your knees come closer towards the floor. And then flatten the shoulders and the neck, and eventually the tailbone down to the floor. Finally, stretching your legs all the way up towards the ceiling. Flex your toes towards your face. You're kind of in a shape like an L, letter L. Hold the belly in on an inhale. Hold the belly in as you exhale. Keep your belly in the whole time, and then slowly lower your legs down, all the way down, slowly down towards the floor, all the way to the mat. Once your legs are down on the floor, we're going to spend a few minutes here now in a little healing relaxation, just a few minutes. So lie completely flat onto your back. Turn your palms up towards the ceiling and your arms down by your side. Close the eyes for a moment. Now you can have your eyes even closed. And just now bring your attention to your breath, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. Feel the whole body getting relaxed. Bring your attention to your left hand and just let your left hand feel like it's softening, sinking down into the floor. Try to remove all the tension there. Even if your hand is not responding and your arm is not responding, just make the request. And next you take your attention to your right arm, adjusting there to relax, remove the tension, loose. Then taking your attention to your left leg, same, resting your left leg. After your left leg relaxed, then you take your attention to your right leg. Suggest your right leg to relax. The hips sinking into the floor. Muscles on the spine heavy. The belly soft. Chest light. The neck and the head. Whole body now, everything relaxed. Taking a breath. And start to move your fingers and your toes a bit. The legs and the arms. Preparing to come back out. Bend your knees and then roll to the right. And slowly coming back up into a seated position. Take the hands to the center of your chest. Just close the eyes for a moment. Acknowledge your practice. I hope you guys enjoyed your practice with me today. It was nice to see you guys again, and I hope to see you guys again very soon. Be well, everyone. Be safe. Namaste. I'm going to turn off the recording now.